Good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's Policy Manthan. I hope you all are doing well. Um, Please switch on your cameras. All right, we'll start today's discussion. I will just briefly highlight today's topic. Meanwhile, I request everybody to switch on their cameras and start writing their names in the chat box. I'll be calling you according to that sequence only. Uh, so, uh, um, all right, am I audible? All right, since chat box has been activated, I hope that I'm audible to all. So in the last decade or two, we have seen a lot of progress when it comes to education in India. Um, we have seen an improvement in the enrollment of students in schools. But this progress, the measure of this progress can only be made when we dive deeper into how students actually experience their everyday experience in the classroom actually matters more than the enrollment processes. So, and a lot of factors contribute to their experience, everyday experience in classroom. But today we will be specifically discussing about gender and how gender shapes school access and experience in India. So we will start today's discussion with Navya. Yes, Navya, please go ahead.
Hello, just a second. I'm just trying to switch on my camera.
All right, Navya. Everybody else also, I am requesting you again, please switch on your cameras.
Am I visible?
Yes, you are, Navya. Please go ahead.
Hello, everyone. As today's discussion is about how gender shapes school access and experience in India. So, as we know, gender plays a very important role in how education is perceived, especially for girls. Even if we say that as they're starting education, there is a obstacle in that only, as if a family has a boy and a girl, most rural families prefer giving the education to the boy instead of the girl. Even when they go to the schools, there are other obstacles such as there's a lack of menstrual hygiene, there are lack of functional toilets, etc. And even if they are in school or colleges, there is a stereotype of like only guys can pursue science education and women are more made for nurturing or caring roles. So these stereotypes surround them at every aspect of their education, which I believe has reduced in the coming years, but still is it is very prevalent. And although there have been many government initiatives like Samar Shiksha Abhiyan or Beti Bachao Beti Padhao, but there are still some more initiatives that we need to do. This is my take. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Navya. Um, is there anybody who would like to add anything to what Navya said? All right, nobody. And I don't see any names in the chat box. Please start writing your names. I will be calling you in that sequence. All right, Nilesh. You can go ahead now.
Right, Kavya. So, yes, there has been an increase in the enrollment and all the stats related to education, similarly for boys and girls in India. However, those stats remain still underwhelmed because on the ground, the reality is a bit different than what the stats actually represent. So while there has been overall increase in the girl enrollment, in the reduction of the dropout rates, in better infrastructure and better facilities in school provided to girls so that they actually complete their schooling, the effect has not been that much as expected because we still see a lot of girls dropping out before class 10, even though I mean, I'm quoting the government stats that starting from primary level, going towards the 10th class, something, the girls' enrollment is pretty much higher than boys. But as the progress, I mean, as you move on to higher education level, the enrollment rate for girls becomes slow. For example, still in BTech degree, whereas the enrollment rate for boys were 20,000 K, the girls was only 10K. So there it becomes a disparity between the enrollment per se, between the two genders. And this has been pivotal in many policies these days. A lot of things are available are available in these, I mean, society, but then there are a lot of social cultural norms. There are a lot of infrastructure barriers, and also some maybe personal, some economical, financial issues as well. So as previously they said that there is like preference given to boys when it comes to boys versus girls. So there exists some all over barriers for girls to not actually pursue education. But yeah, over the time it is changing. There has been a lot of policies that have been implemented to increase the number of girls in education system, and not just enrollment. There comes like even in at a teaching level where the primary teachers are usually the females, again I'm quoting government stats, and the male teacher are usually accumulated towards the higher end education, and this teachers women teachers enrollment number in education in teaching drastically reduces when it comes to at a higher education. This also indicates that at a higher education, while a lot of, I mean, higher education of the teachers itself is required, the teachers are not able to pursue that, and that's why maybe the boys or male have a pretty dominant area in the teaching sector as well. So yeah, that's pretty much my take on it. And yeah, it is existing. I did my LEP in this sector as well. A lot of my respondents say that yeah, the education, the gender disparity still exists in the education system, and there are still policies that they are aware of that are implemented at their school level, which actually helps girls to continue their education. But when you go to maybe not at a private school or maybe at a suburban or a village area, this problem still exists. And so we need to, although there are policy, we still there lacks the execution and that implementation of those policy, because there are all sorts of problems related to funds, related to socio-economical, cultural background and stuff like that. So people need to be educated more about this, and the government needs to take steps in to actually function at a ground level to actually help girls at the school level. So thanks.
Thank you, Nilesh. That was a very well structured and very, filled with evidences also. As you talked about your experience, where you, not your experience, I think you said that in BTech classes there are a lot of boys and less number of girls. And then you talked about there are so many primary teachers who are only females. They are preferred in this field. This actually connects to gender stereotypes where females are only connected to nurturing roles, not into engineering and other fields which are male dominated. So that was a very, very well put argument. Uh, we will move forward to the next speaker. Before that, is there anybody who would like to add anything? All right, since there's nobody, we will move forward to next speaker, which is Vani. Vani, you can start speaking.
Thank you. Yeah, so I do agree with the points that have been given by this far when it comes to like gender based discrimination. There is maybe in India specifically, females do have more when it comes to the fair share of taking the blunt edge when it comes to gender based discrimination in education. That is true. But yeah, with the lab again, with the live action project, I did that for my last one for the batch before, and I did see this more, that females, of course this is known fact, but the thing is that it's lesser in urban cities than it is in rural. Culture still stays the same. I mean, India, we all have this culture, whether it's urban or rural, that girls are not preferably given education. And one thing that I did understand is that it is more about safety. It was more about menstrual health, and the moment a girl was reaching puberty, especially in rural areas, the parents were not that keen to send them to school, because firstly, again, in rural areas, schools are not that equipped to take care of a girl after she has attained her puberty. They don't have the proper facility, they don't have sanitation facility. So that was number one thing, that girls were being taken out of from school. The next was marriage. Child marriage is obviously the another problem, is that we are getting our children, girls, married very young. Another thing was that was seen. And while I did see girls were definitely having more problems, boys were also having issues. They are also facing gender based discrimination, mainly that boys are getting educated up till like 5th grade, and then even their dropout rates are there, not that sharp when it comes to girls, but there is a dropout rate because of employment. Again, rural India, because you have too many children, you need help, and so the moment a boy is 11, 12, they are taken out from school to get employment, to get extra hand. And the thing is that even if a boy is going to school, let's say after school they are going to do the work, because they are so young, they are getting this mentality that money is more important. Education does not matter, money is important, because I'm earning at 12. I am not gonna earn. If I go to school now, I'm not gonna earn. So that mentality comes, and children are not performing, boys are not performing the way they should. They're not interested in school anymore, and then by the time they're in 10th grade, they're somehow getting through, and then there you go. 10th grade, they're dropping out, and they're saying enough is enough. I know enough to be able to write my name. That is there, that's there. Okay, I can write my name, that's enough, let's not go to school. So both are suffering. Girls are suffering because of safety reason, personal reasons, marriage related, and also the culture that preferably does not want girls to learn more, because of the mentality that ज़्यादा पढ़ाएंगे तो ज़्यादा आगे निकल जाएगी, हाथ से निकल जाएगी. That is there for girls, and for boys it's employment. So the solution that I would say is that, if you were to think about what the solution is, make infrastructure better. I don't think, of course, India, rural India, things cannot be changed overnight. Basic things can be done. NGOs are there, companies are there, Anganwadis are there, Panchayati systems are there, and we have a bunch of policies that focus on providing sanitation facilities for girls and stuff. And we have a lot. Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao was number one, but it did not work because we are not focusing. The issue is policies come out, a lot of roar is there, and then it dims down. So there has to be constant effort to make use of the policies. So and there has to be incentives. That is one thing. Smart incentives can be given, that if you score, if you come regularly, you will be given a star, or maybe you will be given recognition. We'll have this, that. Smart incentives can be used. Even with policy Manthan, I think one of the smart incentives that we have is, we have star speaker all the time. So that also is a push, that, oh, I want to be a star speaker, let me attend, let me be good. So if it works here, it's going to work anywhere. There can be smart incentives, there can be safety regulations, like we can have group traveling in rural India, that you take a group. We have Anganwadis, we have Panchayati centers, make that an epicenter. Everyone come here, let's go to school together. That can be one of the things. In urban, there is not really a problem. If personally, if we were to ask each other, as girls, why did we not drop out after we were 13 or 14? Because we had transportation facilities. Our parents were not concerned. We are going to go, we are going to come back. They knew if I needed something, I can go to the medical office, I'm going to be given. Even with boys, boys did not have to worry about, oh my God, I have to earn. I have to go back to my father's office and I have to arrange his files. So that's the thing. We can always ensure that boys, even if it's boys, we can give them flexible hours, because sadly we cannot deny the fact that there are going to be parents that will need a helping hand. Okay, sure. Firstly, let's not encourage the helping hand, but then again, if there is a case where there is a need for a helping hand, a boy can be given vocational training, they can be encouraged to come to school, and flexible hours can be given. And number one for boys and girls is digital education, first class. Have digital hubs, whether it's rural India, any tier country, even in urban areas, have groups, digital hubs, use of that. One specific tablet can be used, one specific PC can be used, so that all students are getting educated and nobody is missing out. So yeah, that was my take. Thank you.
Thank you, Ani. That was actually a very well structured argument from your side. And I really appreciate that you have drawn attention to the fact that it is not only, the experience is not bad only for girls. It is just different for boys because, as you have mentioned, they have to take the responsibility for earning at a very early age. Girls have different problems, they have different reasons for dropping out, but boys actually have to take responsibility for their family sometimes, and for which you took a solution oriented approach and mentioned vocational training, which is also a very good suggestion, because in rural areas, instead of dropping out, if the boys are actually given some training, vocational training, so that they can have real life experiences and hand on experiences, which could even help them earn side by side, while studying they can earn money to support their family. That will actually help in the decrease of dropping out rate. So thank you, Ani. Moving forward, I don't see any names in the chat box. Guys, please, you have to write your names in the chat box, otherwise I will have to call you. It will be better if you just write your names. All right, then next speaker, I would like to invite Nishtha. Please go ahead.
Because it is happening again and again. I'll try by the way. Okay. I'll divide the. Am I audible?
Yes, Nishtha, you are audible. Your just video is lagging a little
Okay.
bit, but you are audible. Please go ahead.
I'll be dividing the topic into two, as it talks about how gender shapes schools, access, and experiences in India. So, first, I'll be talking about the access. School access are basically most of the schools are present, good quality education schools are present far off from the locality. Even if I stay in Gurgaon, I used to travel 45 minutes one way in order to have good education, which was really a barrier for me because when you come back home, you're not in a position to do something productive. You just have your lunch and just sleep. So this was one of the barrier, which I feel is not only present in the rural areas, but it's also present in the urban areas as well, which shapes the education of the girl child as well. I come from a family where I'm privileged that I'm getting the education. But many rural areas or even urban areas, people, you have to go this far, or either you have education in an institution with a proper quality education. So, which hampers the process of cognitive ability building of the student. The second, I feel, is the willingness of of parents as well. Like when you are not that coming from a good background. Most of the this happens, I guess, mostly am I visible and audible?
No, Nishtha, you're not visible, but you are audible.
Can I switch off my video because as I'm switching on my video, I'm getting disconnected. I don't know.
All right, there might be a network issue. It's all right. You can just switch off your camera.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. Thank you. Yeah, so I was talking about the willingness of parents that is determined by the economic condition of the family. So, things when they are not well off, they prefer educating their boy child rather than educating the girl child. And the third, as like it was already stated as well, that as girls attain puberty, they are uh, uh,
Yes, Nishtha, you are audible.
sorry for
It's all right. It's all right. Go
I
ahead.
tried to. Yeah, so I'll try quickly wrapping it up. The third one is the puberty and menstruation thing, and the last I think is safety issue. Where if the girl is not sent if it is like the school is situated in a place which is not that safe for like a girl to go, and it might happen like the if it is a college education, it might go until 4:30, 5:30, like it dark, like say that the girl or any other student drops off the college or school. Then I'll talk about the experiences. So, experiences of education are also shaped by, I feel, one of the important points is the digital divide that is faced. Because girls are not given access to the like technical education, I would say, and most of the schools are nowadays inculcating education via digital modes. So it hinders the process, the experience of education in girls as well. So yeah, this was my take on today's topic.
Okay, thank you, Nishtha. Even though there was some network issue, you actually highlighted a lot of very good points. And the barriers, as you talked about, be it travel, which is why in rural areas girls actually drop out after class 8. There is a study by UDISC that dropout rate among girls after 8th standard increases, and they also list schools being very far and safety concern as one of the reason why these things happen. And you talked about digital divide, which is a very valid point because girls are actually given access to the technological gadgets, after their brothers or male in their families have access to it. They are always prioritized second. So that was also a very valid argument. um, we will move forward to before that, is there anybody who would like to say anything, add to what Nishta said? Or is anybody, you can also offer your opinion if you differ from her. Okay, then we will move forward to the next speaker. Um, Rahul, please go ahead.
I am audible and visible to all of you guys.
Yes, Rahul, you have.
So, hi, good evening, everyone. Today, the topic for the discussion is how gender shapes school access and experience in India. So, it's a very broad topic, and first of all, thank you for choosing this because it's something that we need to understand at this current moment. Uh, Let us start by getting used to the definition of gender, what gender actually is. So, in a short, brief thing, I would like to say that gender is a social construct that impacts attitudes, roles, responsibilities, behavior of boys and girls, men and women in all societies. So, this is a basic definition for gender. And, gender equality in education India is not a new thing. A lot of things have been done in past. Increasing attention has been given to and still has been given to this state to attain gender equality in education in India. But as far as I think, to date, most of the effort has been focused in mending the gender parity part, which is a part of gender equality, because a lot of policies have been made so that there boys and girl number of gender to mend the gender parity, which means that there should be equal number of boys as well as girls in educational institution, apart from college, school, whatever it is. So but gender parity is one of the part of gender equality, and a lot of needs to be done. uh, Gender equality in education, in my view, is that girls and boys also experience the same level of quality of education. uh, Now, this is something that is attainable, but definitely needs a lot of policies. Anyway, moving on to the part, since we have two topics today, the access and experience in the India, how gender shapes access. So let me start by getting an access. Gender discrimination or gender bias is a reality in Indian education system. A lot of women, and let us tell, not only women, as a lot of speakers before me has mentioned this, like Vani has mentioned that a lot of discrimination has done with the boys also, and a lot of points has been said by the previous speaker as well. So let me move on to the points that I have learned. Listen, I'd like to mention one more thing, is that educational institutions are also shaped by the societal forces, which anyhow perpetuate gender discrimination. But anyhow, because we have been educated in such a way that educational institution, apart from giving, they try to give education as well, but gender parity starts from there only, because of our behavioral now the patriarchy that we have been instilled from the very past. So but it's a very good tool from where we can start the beginning, or we can start the change. So let us move on to the parity. Like there are a lot of biases when it comes to the access of education to the women in India. I would like to give a few, I like to point a few. The very first bias that a woman goes through in education, while attending education in India, is that she has to go through the school enrollments. There is a gender bias in school enrollment. A lot of parents, they still up, like we have been talked about rural India, and it's prominent in rural India also, that a lot of parents don't want to teach their girls because of the very fear that if we will educate her more, she will get out of our hands. So this is a general conviction that is still held in rural Indias. And in urban India, I think the gender bias in enrollment is because of the money matter. Parents doesn't still want in urban India, the parents doesn't want to, they want to invest more in their boys' education rather than the girls' education, and that is one of the reason that girls are not enrolled in urban India. The second bias that I think girls goes through is the gender bias of dropouts. Now, dropouts, as Vani has mentioned, that boys also get dropouts, but the reasons for the dropouts of girls are because in most of the families, they need someone bigger or a feminine in the house to take the household chores and do things in the house. And that is the reason, as you have also mentioned, that you according to the UIDS data, that most of the women kind of drop out after class 8 because parents think that they are big enough or elder enough to look after the household chores. So this is one of the biases that woman goes to. The third that I would like to point upon is the gender bias on household responsibilities. As I've said, parents think that it's time for the woman to learn household responsibilities so that they, in coming future, when they will marry her, they will get she at least have known some sort of etiquettes for the homemade. That is one of the biases that women still goes to, and this is one of the reason that they are not getting into the. This is also hampering the access of education to them. Last point that I would like to add upon is the social attitudes towards girls' education. Uh, Apart from rural urban India, investing in girls' education is still considered not so good because eventually they think that they are they like to invest in boys because they think the boy will stay with them, the girl will go out and have a different life and different sort of way. So they just want to do the basic quorum of education for the girls, and these are the biases that I'm talking about, that hinders the access of school education to the women in India. Now coming to the experience part, since we have the experience in the topic as well, so experience is also not very good. Not only let me some of the issues that women experience in the process of getting education is, I think it's a sexual abuse. It is not new that most of the day when we open our newspapers, there is somehow a mention of a sexual abuse of a minor from any part of the India. And that is one of the reason that if apart a girl is attending school, she will not be interested into going back where she has been sexually abused. And sexual abuse is a reality, and with minors it is still happening. I a lot of like I have seen Jammu and Kashmir case, or a lot of cases have been there where minors have been sexually abused. Apart from that, sexual harassment is one of the most important issues that we need to address, which is deteriorating the experience of women into education. Because like public, like let's not be so modest here. We all know that girls goes to verbal abuse. Obscene explicit media content had been they show it on WhatsApp group, or non-verbal actions that are very obscene in nature, and girls goes through all this. uh, Sometimes the professor or teacher asks for sexual favors, and these are the harassment issues that they're experiencing in our college and universities. Apart from one more thing that I'd like to address is the infrastructure gap. As the speakers have mentioned before, there is a lack of infrastructure in our schools as well for girls students. Like there's lack of sanitation, toilets are not properly there, lack of hygiene is there, lack of sex education is there, and that is one of the reasons that are deteriorating their experiences. And once you are you will never go to a place where the experience have been deteriorating. You would just don't like to be, and learning is a very cognitive thing. It needs your attention. You will not be attentive when things are happening to you. Perception of safety in school, home, and community is one more thing that is disturbing. Because when you have a girl child and when you hear news like this, there is a for the perception for the school safety is one of the most concerning things, which held back the rural as well as urban parent from sending their girls to schools. So these are the access and the experiences that women are going through in our country. I have a short point that what we need to do, especially we have talked about the problem. Let's talk about the uh, outcomes or what we can change. So I think there needs to be I think that the teacher training is very important in this thing, because most of the time we don't look into this part. Sometimes teacher also do unknowingly, they somehow promote gender disparity or somehow make some gender discriminatory jokes or whatever it is in this classroom. Needs to be banned. They need to be trained in such a way that the teaching is going in favor of both boys and girls, and it's happening. And I think one more point that I have made is undertaking gender sensitization to parents, community leaders, and members, PS and teacher. These are the things that needs to be instilled from the very basic, from the very school part only. Empowering girls with skills of self confidence, speaking actions, decision making, negotiations. These are the skill sets that needs to be given to the girls from the very basic, so that they can speak up, they can tell about things, and promote gender equality through co-curriculum activities in school or university, like making posters, debate competitions. There's a lot of things that comes into make nukkad nataks maybe, and these are things that are happening, but we need to implement it more betterly. uh, One more thing, so there are policies, some good policies also, like Sukanya Samriddhi Yojnas and Beti Bachao Beti Padhao, that has been said before. Need to be, these are good policies, but these needs a better implementation in the okay in country. One of the uh, a good thing that I see in private sector about the gender disparity is that the with the term of diversity hiring. So it's a very good thing that's happening in the corporates nowadays. They kind of hire, they kind of try to make balance with the gender in their offices, like equal number of males and females must be working in offices, and these are good things. So I think I have made my point. I have listed this much, and I just would like to wrap up with one quote that says how important, that says the importance of women education. It says, "You educate a man, you educate a man, you educate a woman, you educate a generation." So again, thank you very much for listening me for this time, and thank you very much for giving this opportunity to me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rahul. That was a wonderful quote. And also, I would like to applaud you for how you have actually tackled this topic. You understood what this topic entailed, and you have covered every aspect of it, which I would like to say I applaud again. To mention a few points from what you spoke. You talked about what Vani also mentioned earlier, that in rural areas they don't let their daughters go to school much after some point because they think कि वो हाथ से निकल जाएगी, which basically just means that she will form her own opinion. She will deny to marry at an early age, and she will want to study more and not do housework for a very long time. So that was a good point. Another good point was that you talked about actual experiences in class, in which you said that boys and girls have different experiences, and you highlighted that girls go through sexual abuse, which is correct. It happens in school and then later when they go to colleges. We have seen that a lot. But when we talk about schools, girls are actually, as you said, bullied because there is that locker room talk. We have all heard about that, how boys talk about girls, and girls are not actually able to say it out loud to anybody because they are not aware how to tackle that, and for which you mentioned that there should be uh, parents should be in the loop, and they should be trained on how to talk to their girls, and girls should be educated in classes, or maybe there should be there can be a seminar or something, a separate class for such type of sensitive training or mental health days, so which is also a very good point. To support one of your argument, I have data here with me. According to UNESCO's Global Education Monitoring Report, teachers' expectation, which is based on gender stereotypes, actually, shape how a girl and a boy experience their everyday class. So, for which teacher training is important, you also mentioned that, which is also one of the point I would like to appreciate. That is it. Very well spoken. Is
Thank
there anybody else
Thank
who
you,
would like
Bhavya.
to?
I just want to add that we live in a male patriarchal society. That parents don't let the boys decide how when to marry, and then how they will accept the fact that girls are making decisions in their life. So that needs to be changed. This is one of the medium for sure. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Right, very good, very nicely said. Is there anybody else who would like to add anything to what Rahul has said?
I think it was pretty nicely put forward arguments, not arguments, discussion, let's say. I really like the fact that he stated that the gender disparity and gender discrimination and stereotype is so prevalent, you might not even notice it, but it's so much actually induced in the society, in even teachers, in male students that you might explicitly not be able to say it or see it once, but only girls actually go through this, where there's, as you said, there's this locker, whatever what term was. Yeah, right.
Mm.
So there needs to be, I mean, as you said, there has to be some kind of, seminars to educate students, to educate parents, but that also comes from within actually the sensitization of the teachers as well, because teachers actually might have gender disparity in the classroom itself. They might prefer boys to do some task over girls, or might have some preference, whatever kind of preferences. And this again comes from their own education, teachers' education. They might be lacking, or this might, again, as I said, something that is actually instilled in the cultural and the societal norms as well. So yeah, that was a pretty good point for me. Thanks, Rahul.
Thank
Appreciate
you
it,
for
Neeraj.
thank you for your input, Nilesh. Now we will move on to Shreya.
You are
Uh,
mute.
Alright, sorry. I would like to invite Shreya now. Please go ahead.
Is my video like, are you able to see me?
Yes, you are visible.
Okay. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
So, hello everyone. And as the topic of discussion of policy, Manthan says that how gender shapes school access and experience. With starting my speech, I would like to quote one of my favorite writers, Mary Wollstonecraft. Yes, she was the one who actually started this thing of education for girls with her book, A Vindication on the Rights of Women, where she argues that it's not when you tell that women are not able to do something, it's that they are not given access to it. They're not given proper education. If they are, they would be able to be as equal to men and even surpass them at some levels. So, with that, I would like to start my speech. When we talk about gender, we are talking about a very phenomenon we are talking about, which we see right from the childhood. Yes, when I talk about gender shaped from childhood, I would like to say that when I was a child, I was given a kitchen set, and all the relatives brought me kitchen set, and they thought that yes, definitely I would like Barbie girls, because it's the phenomenon that she would have to like. She obviously likes. They can't expect a girl to go for a color blue, because again, it was a gender based thing that was started right from the childhood. I would not get a bike or a ball as my brother would do. So, right from that, I understood that what happens is from childhood is what happens while we go up for educations. And with that, there was this World Economic Forum that released the Global Gender Gap Report, where India ranked 129th out of 146 countries, which shows that how gender disparity actually exists in schools. When I talk about that, I actually talk about the report that was released by All India Secondary Higher Education, that said that the access of women in education in pre kindergarten is just 40% as compared to 60% of men. And as the ratio increased from 40% of women to 45, 46, however, the gap widens. And what basically is seen is that most of the girls don't even have the right for primary education. And if which is very actually very different from higher education. When we see women have a better access rate, or we see a good access rate as in higher education, they have good access to higher education. However, what is the difference is that they obviously go for home sciences or social sciences stream. So there was this report which said that 55 lakh or 55% total population of male are in technology and science and tech stream, as compared to women who actually go for social sciences and humanities, because it's a social construct that actually shapes their experience. Because I'm not talking about how gender shapes experience to education. Their experience is actually about how difference is that. So when I open my textbook, it is always seen a man having this doctor costume, and it is written a pronoun or common noun doctor, and a woman making food and so on, shown housewife. So that's actually from where gender stereotypes start, and we are accustomed to that. We are never meant to question that. And why can't we show a man, which is actually changing? Like in Kerala, there was this method which was introduced, that a man was shown cooking, and that was thought to be something very out of the box, and something very and something very change. But that is not a change that is required at this level. This change should have been inculcated from past, so that children who actually are not able to get education, or especially girls who are not able to get access to education, actually have this shape. So what are the main reasons that actually leads to this gender disparity? One of the main reason that was thought to be was child marriage. Yes, in India, child marriage is a practice that was long abolished by Raja Ram Mohan Roy, but again, this practice is continued in many rural areas where uh, girls are not even thought to have the right to have this duty to study, because they are thought to have get married, and they are thought to be nurturers. But they're not thought to be nurturers of education, nurturers of a field where they can shape things, but shape households. That is the main thing that is associated with women. They are told to be kind and sensitive, with men being tough and rough, and you see all this kind of adjectives that is associated. So child marriage is one of the reasons that is seen basically in rural areas and in some areas. And we have this social construct and social obligations that women are required to fulfill their duties. They are required to actually do all the household chores. They have duties and responsibilities, while men have this responsibility of actually taking care of the household, to be the owner of the family. So this kind of attitude from parents and peers actually denying them access. And when the parents are trying to give girls education, their girls education, and trying to send their girls, what we see is actually the teachers, that their expectations there, as you said about, that they expect the girls to be like knowing something, and to not demand so many questions, to adhere that, and to feel that it is a blessing to even get that right to education. They don't think that it is, education is a right, it's not a gender based thing. And obviously this which I would like to tell, that is a lack of access to hygiene and sanitation is what actually also concludes to dropout rates of girls. And because this is something very taboo associated, where they cannot talk about feeling, and if girls are not given proper access to sanitation and hygiene and menstrual things, then they actually faces this problem, especially in rural areas. It is not being implemented. However, there have been schemes that is going on. So while we had Right to Education Act long decades ago, the mentality and this gender disparity has still not changed, which is shown by all the reports that is released. We have this Beti Bachao Beti Padhao written behind the autos, but the same auto driver might not be sending their girls to school because he thinks that education is what the man deserves. So that sounds quite ironic to me. While we are girls sitting over here, women's sitting over here and discussing this thing, but there might be some girl out there who do not even have access to this topic, who do not even understand it, how gender is restricting her opportunities. So there was this TV show, actually I would like to. Might sound out of the topic, but there was this TV show that was Sadahak, where it was shown that it was there is a girl who is actually goes for mechanical engineering, and all her family didn't support her because mechanical engineering again was sought to be a field which was particularly reserved for boys. So right from the start, there has been gender based stereotypical streams. There has been gender based things about implementation, and though have been various things have been launched by government, there are still persisting policy gaps. So again, what are the policy that we need? We need gender sensitization schemes that needs to be implemented by the government along with NGOs and different officials, who actually go to, like in rural schools, have the parents sit over there and make them understand the importance of education and how it can change their daughter's life and their things. Also, we can have different programs, different things that we have this plays, we have these dramas that is going to be there. We can have different radio programs. If you're talking about government can have different radio programs from their news channels, government news channels like All India Radio, different sensitization programs where parents are invited on a show and they are like given the things to discuss with some experts and officials. They are given the counseling, not the children but the parents, that why it is important to educate your girls, because they need to know their basic rights. Education not only makes you a person who can earn money, but a person who can earn respect, a person who can understand that whether her right or his right is being denied or not. Well, we see in Nagaland that the role is quite reversed. There, the boys are not able to get proper access to education, and girls are. So the girls' enrollment ratio is higher. So there was this official who told that in Nagaland the same situation is reversed. The boys are uh, facing issues in enrollment, and they are particularly they are asked to do some occupations while girls are being encouraged to study. So in Himachal we see girls working professionals, they are educated while also handling things, and men doing all the household chores. So obviously the society is changing, the thinking is changing, but we do not need these things only in Himachal or Nagaland. Last Next time we talk about this topic, we want to talk about India as a whole country. So this is what again, like, and on this topic. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shreya. That was really well articulated. I would really like to mention some of the things that you said, that when in early stages of our life, we are girls are only gifted kitchen sets and boys are given a bat and ball. It is not just about girls that they don't want a kitchen set, or maybe they want a bat or ball. A boy might want a Barbie doll, why not? And he can actually want a kitchen set. What if he is interested in that field? Maybe he can become a homemaker or a chef when he grows up. So that was a very nice point. You also mentioned that doctors are in the books in the primary school, when professions are showed to the students, they doctors are always male. And we have also seen many times in textbooks and in maybe some articles, that when they talk about a female doctor, they actually write that a female doctor. What is the need for that? Doctor can be male or a female. That was also a very good point from your side. And you mentioned a show which I have not seen, but I would like to um, add another example, which is it's an Hindi movie, Key and Ka. I don't know how many of you have watched it or even heard about it, but in that movie, the guy was wanted to be a homemaker, and the girl wanted to work and not do household work. And that movie is not very famous. So that shows that our society, and as Rahul talked about earlier, that mentality that our society has um, towards gender roles. So very nice, words from your side.
Thanks. I really agree with your point that it's written a female doctor, and it's always written that, and always the thing that not only education as working professional, you see that when there is pregnancy or when there is anything, women are expected to leave their jobs, but men aren't. And if a man is helping his or her woman in pregnancy, his woman in pregnancy, then it is told that okay, fine, this man is helping, he needs to help. And they just have this mentality that I don't allow my I have allowed my daughter to study, and that's a very big thing. So it's not allowing, it's her right that you should provide. And this mentality needs to be changed right from the childhood. If the parents are supporting, if the mentality is changed right from the school level, it will again be inculcated in the higher level and so on. And that was itself shown in Mrs. movie, was also there, Sanya Malhotra. So it also showed that how gender is shaping you, and you're not allowed, even not in every field. Even when a man goes and wants to be a dancer, a classical dancer, he's mocked and laughed at. So we are expected women to have classical dances and participating in competitions in schools. We are asked men to play this role. We can't have reverse performances. So this is what we talk about, because if I remember correctly, Shakespeare had all the men's playing the role of women's in masquerade. So he long talked about how gender is actually shaping, and he wanted to deconstruct that gender thing. So yeah, if we gender mentality. Thank you.
That was a really nice example that boys are not actually allowed to do classical dances because they are not encouraged enough, by their parents and teachers to, practice that kind. Western dance are always there for boys, but classical dances we see very less number of boys. That's a good example. Is there anybody else who would like to add anything? All right, then we will move to our next speaker. Um, Drupad, you can go ahead.
Hello, am I audible and visible?
You're audible, but you're not visible. Now you are.
Right. Hello everyone. So really good and insightful points were seen here. But let me, since the topic is how gender shape education access and experience, let me start by talking about the most disadvantaged gender in the education sector. No, I'm not talking about men, of course. I'm not talking about women either. I'm talking about the third gender. The third gender is very less talked about in terms of education sector. I would start by putting a data. Around 56% of trans people are literate, while the rate vary to 70 to 91% across different government sites and private institutions research, and it's higher for men. But it's the third gender, especially the transgenders, they're very less given importance in terms of education. We often see parents disown their children who do not follow in either male or female, and even in education institutes, they are often bullied, they are sexually abused, they are harassed, and they're even taunted by their peers. And even if they somehow are from a good family, a family that acknowledges education, and they get a good school, but the school systematically try to disown them, try to throw them away from the educational institute. So the third gender is especially less talked about, and that needs to be given more priority. And it's surprising that we don't have extreme step for their education. Um, for that, especially, I think we need a reservation policy, a strict reservation policy in government schools and private schools for the third gender. And it should be, of course, implemented. But before implementation, we need institutional reforms for the schools so that they have uh, the infrastructure, they have the sensitivity for the teachers, for the peers. So drastic steps needs to be taken for that. Now, since let me first start talking about the access to education. I'm talking about access to education. I'll go on to women. A data showed that 41% of women completes 10 years of schooling. And while the rate is close to around 70 to 80% for males, but it's only 41% for females who complete continuously 10 years of school education. And that's a very less number. We see, again, government sources say 70 to 90%. It's the enrollment ratio for women, but continuous back-to-back schooling is very low. And one reason, like everybody's saying, several reasons could be there. Specifically, their discrimination in school and institutions, and the menstruation that they face, and the abuse. And there are several covert abuse that this female faces in school, be it from their peers or be it from their teachers. And often we hear in the news how teachers are to be blamed, and these things happen covertly because there is no particular mentor or teacher they can go report to who is a neutral, who is going willing to hear to the students. These childs suppress their thoughts and the issues they are facing, and as a result they maybe drop out. So regarding this, I think we definitely need a gender specific mentor or a guide who is well reputed, and government needs to assign them to its government schools, and maybe for some period and on a switch basis, but this needs to be implemented. Again, coming to another factor that really affects their education and improves the dropout ratio, it's the invisible labor tax, something that we don't give enough acknowledgement for. The women are responsible for doing the household work and also doing their work, doing their school education. And uh, when I say this, we have systematically made it such that it's the women that are supposed to do the household work, or even if they come from school, they'll do their homeworks later, they'll do their shopping and going out later. But you need to do your household work first. Even if your brother is going out to play from coming from school, it's okay. You need to do your household work first. That is the mindset that has been set. And like I said, it's the invisible labor tax they pay for and they get no value for it. So that needs to be called out for, and government needs to take more measures in that. Then coming to an economical point of view, a economist I would like to quote is uh, Abhijit Banerjee. Abhijit Banerjee, in one of his books, Poor Economics, he said how to improve this enrollment of women. Something we can do is we can assign money, or we can assign the duty to track child's education in the head, in the woman of the family. For example, we generally see it's the male that's the head of the family, but we need, even if we are giving some incentives, even if we are tracking a girl's education, it's the woman of the house, the head of the house, that we need to consider, and we need to approach them. And he has found out through surveys that by giving incentives on the head of the family to women, the enrollment ratio for girls improve. So that is something we can absolutely do. And a former Mexican prime minister, I forgot, Santiago Levy was the name, and he introduced this first. He did a incentivized method for improving enrollment ratio. What he did is that he ensured every family will get a good amount of money, but once the girl child finish continuously some amount of schooling, for example 10 years or 12 years, and he ensured that the money would be gotten. So such measures can be taken. And next, coming to the experience part of schooling. Uh, like I said, women go through a lot. And regarding initially the infrastructure is not adequate in our Indian schools. And a measure that was in the news few months ago, it's the pink toilet, women specific toilets that are hygienic, that has facilities for disposal of menstruation pads and other sinks and all the facilities required, and also keeping in mind the issues of the third gender. So infrastructure specific to that will of course help improve the experience in schooling. Uh, then again, while we talk about the experience part, another thing that we need to address regarding men. Regarding men's experience in school, one particular event that really affects them is bullying. I truly believe that bullying for men is one increasing factor compared to other gender. And to call out bullying, I think again something that I talked before, we need a dedicated mentor, a mentor that hears without judgment, and sensitization, sensitivizing the teachers, the students through extensive workshops and through street plays, such measures. And regarding the men's bullying, that really needs to be called on. And I don't really see much policy uh, or much schemes regarding this, but it truly affects the uh, cognitive ability, the mental health of the children. Uh, Next, uh, like I was talking about, gender specific mentor uh, that is specific to men, that is specific to the third genders that is specific to women, and each person it's a separate person. So these are some steps I think that can be taken for improving the experience in school, and those are my points. And I would like to end by a quote from Jawaharlal Nehru. I don't exact remember it to paraphrase, but it's when you empower a woman, you empower a family, and when you empower a family, you empower a society, and when you empower a society, it empowers the nation. So that's all. Those are my points. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Drupad. That was a beautiful quote, and you articulated the whole discussion very well. And I would really like to appreciate that you brought up a very crucial point, which nobody has still brought up, was third gender. Um, it is a very big issue for our country. We all know that. We might have some friends who have experienced these kind of bullying, as you talked about. Third gender actually goes through bullying all through their school life, so much that they are not even able to tell their teachers or parents because, they know that they would not understand. They are excluded when we talk about their experience in classroom. They are most of the times they are excluded from the boys group itself because they might not conform to the activities the other boys are doing, or the things they talk about. So they feel excluded not only in classroom, but on the top of that, they have to go through the trauma of not being able to tell their parents and not being understood by anybody else. So that was really nice point which nobody else has brought up. um uh, and the next aspect was bullying, not only in females. We earlier talked about that females are bullied on different issues, but bullying is a very serious issue among boys itself um, because if we when we are in school, in the starting stages, our friendships are generally with the same gender. Girls are friends with girls and boys are friends with boys. And generally, girls are, not that much. They don't use such languages which we might call bullying, but boys among themselves actually use such languages. So that adds to the bullying of not only just the third gender, but anybody who doesn't feel the same way or have different opinions, so they go through the bullying in school. So that was also a very different point which you brought up, which actually tells us that it's not just girls. When we talk about the experience, gender experience in classroom, we are not only talking about how disadvantaged girls are, but it is actually difficult for boys as well. Different experience, but we can't say they just have a smooth sailing to whole through their school life. So it is not one size fits all when we talk about classroom experiences. Both the gender go through different things, and they both have different kind of problems which they face for their whole school life, which was clearly we can conclude it from the way you spoke. So thank you so much. Now we will move to the next speaker, unless there is anybody who wants to say anything. All right, then we will move to the next speaker, which is Shraddha. Shraddha, you can go ahead.
Okay, so gender disparity is one of the major issues in the Indian education system, and it's not right now. It has been prevalent since a long, long time. Even in 19th century, I remember how our leaders, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar and Rajaram Mohan Roy, had to fight to let girls get educated in schools. However, the scenario has changed today. The enrollment has increased in the urban schools and also somewhere in the rural schools because of the policies of the government. Gandhi Mahavidyalaya scheme of the government and the midday meal systems have increased the enrollment ratio even in experience. One of my friend who was wanted her to get educated so that or she's getting agriculture or get her married. I think it also we talk about gender disparities, but I think it's not only about gender disparities. Sometimes it is also influenced by social class, scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. The women of scheduled castes and scheduled tribes are hardly given any access to education. The Muslim minorities in our country, a lot of them face, their culture, the burqa system, the schools which do not allow the burqa, they do not go for good quality education because of these restrictive cultural norms. So a lot of access problem is there. As a lot of people talked about early, that in rural areas it is mostly because of child marriage or child labor, where both men and women, the kids are brought into the employment at a very early age, from making teas or selling cigarettes, paper, flowers. In the traffic roads we have seen, in the urban areas also we have seen girl child of 8 7 years, they are selling uh, food packets or selling roses in the roads. So I think a lot of problem also arises from, of course, lack of financial um, support of the parents. They have a lot of kids, the rural people, so they cannot afford education of all of their kids. The second thing, I think, apart from financial education, is also the mindset of the people. As I said, the mindset is even corrupted in the urban schools, where they say that women should get educated to get married. And apart from this, there are several other issues that I would like to highlight. One is, of course, somebody said menstrual hygiene and sanitation. I think government schools lacks basic infrastructure, basic bathroom facilities. The stereotyping of women not having male friends and making them sit separately, to not allow the men and the women to grow their mind. That is why so many rape cases, gender-based violence happen, because women and men are not allowed to mix up as early as possible. However, things are changing. um, the textbooks are changing, where women are now shown as teachers, doctors working, and men are shown as house helps, so that this thought is inculcated in the minds of kids that they can go for any career. I think what should be done apart from the policies is that we should liberate both the genders from the predefined norms. That is, the men, your job is to get a job and earn, and as a woman your job is to manage household. A man can also manage household and a woman can also earn. The second thing, I think there's this movie English that did it very correctly. A housewife who who wanted to get education, and maybe at a very later stage of her life, she realized that why education is important, why learning a language is very much important. Apart from this, I am from Kolkata, and we all know that the southern states have a higher literacy rate, but the same is not for the eastern states. In my state, there are policies which are like scholarships based on gender merit. We have Kanya Shri Prakalpo, and we have Sukanya Samriddhi schemes that actually helps women to get enrolled in schools. And the policy has been very effective, because I have seen people enrolling in schools only to get that benefit, get that 5,000 rupees per month by the government. And apart from this, changing the mindset, scholarships, midday meal schemes in rural areas, in rural schools have also benefited this enrollment ratio. And things definitely have changed. Right now, only in 2025, I saw that the female that appeared and gave the exams for NEET was some around 6 lakh, as compared to the male who were only 3 lakh. So I'm saying that the situation is changing. Things are changing, but of course, we need to do better. That's it.
Thank you, Shraddha. That was your points were really grounded, and you actually connected the issues with the evidences very clearly. Um, you mentioned that in the early stage, from the early stage in school, girls and boys are, they are seated separately, and in most of the things a separation is there among them. So as I mentioned earlier, that because our friends in the starting stages of our life, girls have girls and boys have just boys friends, it actually shapes our mindset, as you said, that if we correct that, there would be less rape cases, because when we talk to and share our experience with the opposite gender, we sensitize them towards our thinking also. If boys and girls talk and they share their experience from from their school life itself, they would become more sensitized to each other's issues, and it would actually solve a lot of problems later, where one of the example is many rapes cases would be decreased, I'm hoping. So that was a really nice point. I really appreciate you for that. Is there anybody who would like to say anything or add anything? No. All right, I don't see any more names, but I think Dilshad has not spoken yet. Have you? Dilshad, are you there? Um, all right, you have raised your thumb, but have you spoken today? If you're not able to speak, you can just type it in the chat box. Internet issue. All right then. There are no more speakers left. So, is there anybody who would like to say anything? Because we will be concluding our discussion after this. No? All right then. I'll just conclude today's discussion. All right, Rahul. We talked about the uh, the experiences and the access, how it shapes girls and boys differently. We specifically chose gender today as something which adds to the experience of students in school, but a lot of other factors also add to that. I think a lot of you mentioned those aspects as well, which were daily interaction with the teachers, with their peers, and infrastructure, and how our curriculum is designed, and the social expectations. We discussed so many things which actually shape their experience in the classrooms. And by gender experiences, as I have already said, we did not just mean how women are different than boys, how their experience is not as well as boys. We actually wanted to discover how boys also actually feel in the classrooms, and how their experiences are totally different from girls, and we covered that topic as well. We also talked about how third gender comes into the loop, and how their experience is totally different from how girl or so I'm sorry, how gender conforming students would actually experience a classroom. So it was a really lively discussion, and we just established that it should not be about gender or caste or class or anything else which should matter in the class experience, and everybody should feel encouraged, safe, and supported in the classroom. So I'm hoping that since we all joined and discussed um, a very important topic today, we can go ahead and actually make a change in the society, because it doesn't matter how less people talk or discuss about it, we can also make a large difference in our society. So, with that, I will just conclude today's discussion, and I would like to say it again. Is there anybody who would like to say anything? All right, then, everybody, have a good night. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.